Hello everybody, Loyalty for Life here, bringing us a brand new video, and today we're going to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis. So this is, I know I'm late to the party. It's my fault for, not making videos hardly ever anymore. But I am trying to get better about that, and I really do want to get back into the swing of things. And I know I had at least one person ask about what my thoughts are on Genesis, and I know I'm probably going to have plenty of other people interested as well, at least long-term subscribers, because, well, as the name of the channel implies, low tier for life. This is all about lower tier decks. So, I'm not going to bore you. I'm sure you know everything about Genesis. To give you the gist of it, though, if you don't know for some reason, Genesis is a brand new format. Thank you, Adblock. Genesis is a brand new format that seeks to give a lower scale, lower power environment. That's pretty much what Konami has said with this. There are no links, there are no pendulum zones, no pendulums, no links, none of that, nope. Just fusion, synchros, XCs, rituals, and that's it. Anything that is a pendulum monster, even if it is a pendulum ritual, pendulum fusion, whatever, it is not allowed. Pendulums are not a thing in this. There's no extra monster zone or anything like that. Every card, instead of being having a banned cards, limited cards, whatever, they have a point value to them, and you're allowed at normal to have 100 points to your deck. So if you have Abyss Dweller in your deck, you're not allowed to play anything else of a point value. Well, as long as the point is greater than 1. It seems like if a card gets points and then they decide to reduce it to 0, it stays on the point list, but it's 0, so Arahime is not going to count towards, like, you can play Arahime and Abyss Dweller together, because, well, the points can't go over 100, it can be at 100. But if you have a card that has 1 point, or 3, like, or 5, like Allure of Darkness here, you can't play Allure of Darkness and Dweller together. Or you can't play 3 Albion, which will get you to 99, and then an Allure of Darkness because you'll be over 100. It is very simple like that. Now, because of this, the game has a very different kind of balancing. And Konami claims they spent 2 years testing this and are going to keep updating it on a on a regular basis is the right word. And they've already adjusted it once. They basically said, yeah, they released the original one that they settled on and then made revisions after like a month or two, but decided to release the version before revisions and then did all that. It's weird. Anyway, so Genesis has been alive and kicking for about 2 weeks now, I believe. And I've already attended my first tournament. Actually, I think it was 3 weeks, because my first tournament for Genesis was done the week after, and that was the week before last week. So yeah, it's been around for about 2 or 3 weeks, give or take. Sorry, allergies are killing me, and I cannot clear my throat enough. So I went to my first one on the 3rd, unfortunately skipped out on the one from last week due to personal reasons. And I'm planning on going to the one this week on this Friday, which is the 17th. And I want to give my general thoughts on what I've seen with Genesis and how I am suffering choice paralysis hard with this. So again, the whole idea with Genesis is to give something for the mid-core players. At least that's what I feel. They haven't expressly said that, but it basically is. Because right now, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is in a very big conundrum, okay? Take, for instance, okay, DDD. DDD just got new support. DDD is a really cool deck that I have really enjoyed for a very long time. In fact, if you go back on my channel, you will find in a very early deck profile for, I think I did a deck profile of it at least, I'm pretty sure I did, of DDD, where it was focused on the first 2 pendulums we got, which was, well, it focused on King Kaiser and the 2 pendulums that came out with him. It was terrible, but it was cool for the time. That's all we had. It was 3 monsters. That was it. But DDD just got new support. Some great support, actually. Very great support. Stupidly good support. The deck is still unplayable trash in current modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And, you know, I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for that. because I called it unplayable trash, but I'm calling it like I see it. It's the unfortunate thing. The deck cannot make a strong enough board going first, mainly because of all the archetypal locks and the bannings of the good generic extra deck stuff, and it cannot play through an established board as well as it should be able to. You sit down and you stare at a yummy board, you're not going to be having a good time. And it sucks, because if it wasn't for the current big three decks, DDD could probably be a solid rogue, or heck, even maybe, I doubt it'd be meta, no it would not, but it'd be a solid rogue deck. Take, for instance, also Radiant Typhoon. Radiant Typhoon is unplayable right now. Completely unplayable. The deck cannot do enough in the current modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's a stupidly good deck in terms of like what it wants to do and everything. Like, have you read these cards? It's stupid. You got so much draw, search, and resource power, and yet it doesn't have a strong enough payoff, and God help you if you're going second. It just does not have what it needs. And unfortunately, this has been a recurring thing for years now with Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's my main problem with it. Every set with new support that I get excited for, and that I see other people get excited for, or these newer, lesser archetypes, it's hard to get excited for them because they're not playable in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Super Quant. I love Super Quant. I have been trying to make this deck work. It barely functions. You have to heavily rely on the K9 engine, and even that only that hard carries the deck. I'll be honest, it hard carries the deck. It's a shame, and the deck got 3 broken support cards with Black Layer, Very Zetan, and oh god, where'd it go? Oh yeah, Super Quantum Layer 19, Sudden Incursion, Super Quantum Black. 3 busted cards. Custom cards printed for the deck, and it's not even rogue viable. And that goes for so many other decks, and I think that's also part of the reason why boxes are so cheap. I know a lot of people, it's because the lack of chase cards. Yes, that's a big reason. I think that's probably the bigger reason. But also when 90% of your set is unplayable chaff, as far as the meta players are concerned, as far as the topping results are concerned, yeah, no one's going to want to buy it. Like, okay, Doom of Dimension has 4 cards, give or take, that people want to pick up. That being the new Dominus Trap, the new K9 guy with no Roy, and then the new Dracotail and the new Yomi. That is it. There are some people who want to pick up the new Dogmatica card, the new Fleur de Lis, because, hey, that card actually has a really solid chance of being relevant one day. But yeah, everything else other than the 4 main cards I listed, no one cares about. You buy a box, you get a bunch of crap that no one cares about, that's unplayable, that's not playable in the current meta, that's not playable, probably in the future meta. I'm looking at Burst of Dimension, Burst Protocol, whatever the hell it's called, and so far nothing in it screams, I can beat Yummy, I can beat Full Power Dracotail, I can beat K9. No, it does nothing screaming that so far. I'm sorry, Elven Notes. It's a cool deck, but I don't think it's going to be that good. So, something that you can do, though, is a lot of these decks are good in Genesis. Freaking look at Super Quant. Not a single one of these cards are worth a point. And you don't have to worry about the link, because the link is not very good. Like, at all. It's hard to summon, and it's hard to make, and it's hard to actually be able to like keep up the resources with it. And yeah, anyways, so, but like, you want to play Super Quant, you can do that in Genesis. You want to play Radiant Typhoon, it's a solid deck in Genesis. You want to play Art Mage, a deck that I know has a lot of fans, and that I personally enjoy a lot too. This deck is unplayable in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now in Standard. It just is not. It's not good enough. It can't do enough against it. But in Genesis, it's pretty good. It's pretty solid. There's no points or anything. So that gives these lower power decks a shot at being relevant. At my first Genesis tournament, I think I walked around. It's been 2 weeks, but I remember walking around, and I remember seeing at least 2 Art Mages. I played against one of them. There was one Goaty player. There was like 2 or 3 Gem Knight players, because Gem Knight, for some reason, does not have a lot of points allotted to it. You have 1 Master Diamond, which you don't even need, really. But like I saw one guy, he was going all ham on playing 3 Brilliant Fusion, and yeah, but you don't even need to do that. It's stupid. There's so much you can do with it. And then let's see here. There was there was a bunch of Fire King too. Fire King is a really really strong deck in Genesis. They have a very small amount of points allotted to them, and heck, you don't even really need to play Volcanics. I think the person I saw was playing at least 1 Volcanics and 2 or 3 Kieran, and that's it. Like, the deck is stupid. It's very powerful, and the thing that balances it is that you have these points to it, right? You can only have 100, so you play 3 Volcanics, that's 60. You play 3 Kieran, that's now you're at 90. So you got to make concessions. Okay, maybe instead of playing 3 Volcanics, I'm gonna play 1. Or maybe I don't play Volcanics at all. That way, so I can play a card like Ash Blossom to be able to stop my opponent from playing. Or you can play Droll and Lockbird, which for some godforsaken reason is only worth 5 points. Oh yeah, Exosister was another big deck I saw up there a lot. Exosister's not worth any points whatsoever. And the really big thing too with these no point decks like Super Quant, like Exosister, they don't cost any points whatsoever for their engine, so you can play whatever hand traps you want. And there's a lot of choices because, yeah, they put almost every good hand trap on some number of points. Oh wow, Cristrons have a lot of points too. Something else you'll notice too is archetypes that function as engines have a good chunk of points, at least here and there. They really tried to nip the bud with annoying loops and stuff like that. Dark World, for one thing, has a lot of random point values added to them, but it's not random. It's very it's got a lot of thought to it because they want you to have to actually, like, you want to play this more powerful deck? Cool. Okay, you're going to have to pay those points, and that's the sacrifice you got to make. You won't be able to play all the hand traps you want to do. That's fine. You got Grapha, you got bigger Grapha, you got Dark World Dealings, you've got Dark World Archives. These stupidly good cards. And then then they're like, no, you cannot have Silva. You want to have Silva, you can't play any of the other good archetypal cards. Something too I've noticed is they love to put Searchers at 33 points, give or take. Both archetypal and not. So, like, for instance, Snow is worth 30 points, and so is Reinforcement of the Army, which is at 40, actually. But then you look at, let's see here, I think Bonfire is at, like, 30. Yeah, it's 33 as well. So they love doing it for the generic stuff, but also archetypal stuff, too. Which makes a lot of sense for a lot of things, but also is very annoying. Okay, here's my big grievance with the point system. There are some decks that have no business having points attached to them. Like, okay, for instance, Gladiator Beast is a deck that has a lot of point value to it. Okay, Geyseris is worth 20. Editor is worth 20. Okay, and fair enough about Editor. Editor is stupid. Proving Ground is at 33. And Rejection is at 15. By the way, they did not put any point value to the Field Spell, which is basically a better Proving Ground anyway. But, like, look at that. That is, if you want to play just one of each of these, 20, 40, 73, and then that would be 88, I believe. Yeah? Yeah, you're not playing Glad Beast with that much and having enough stuff for the other non-engine and everything. Now, the thing I do also like about this too is that Genesis has been encouraging very random cards that normally wouldn't be played. Okay, like for instance, there's a card called, where are you? Apple. There it is, Link Apple. Link Apple is a bad card. It's a bad card that is, well, it's a very weird Cybers card. You can reveal it in your hand, banish a random card from your face down extract. You banish it face up. The parentheses is throwing me off for some reason. Anyway, so you banish a random card from your extra deck face up, but the extra deck, the card has to be face down, so no banishing pendulums. And then, depending on what you banished at random, you get to do either a special summon or you discard, and draw a card. So, if you banish a Link monster, you get to special summon Link Apple. If you banish a non-Link, you draw a card by discarding Link Apple. Okay, cool. Links aren't in this game. So if you just want a random extra draw card and you don't care about your extra deck, cool. You can play Link Apple. I've seen people do this. It's literally just another Upstart Goblin. And on that note, Upstart Goblin is not worth anything. Pot of Avarice is not worth anything last I checked. Pot of Avarice is not worth anything. Yeah. So you gotta, so like, if you want draw power, it's there. You got all these cool random stuff. And then also, I saw a Fire King player playing Grisal Prison. Grisal? I cannot say this word for the life of me. Grisal Prison. Who remembers this card? Okay. If you control a face-up monster that was Tribute, Ritual, or Fusion Summon, until the end of your opponent's next turn, neither player can Synchro or Xyz summon, and Synchro and Effect monsters and Xyz monsters cannot attack and their effects are negated. This card was released around the same time as Dimensional Prison, if my memory is correct. Let's see, sorry, Dimensional Barrier. I love all the barrier statues being hit. My poor voice. Let's see here, Dimensional Barrier. Yeah, here's Dimensional Barrier. D Barrier is worth 100 points. Grisal Prison's just bad D Barrier for only Synchros and Xyz. Now, granted, you have to have a Tribute, Ritual, or Fusion Summon monster on the field. But if you're playing one of those decks, if you're playing Archmage, cool, you can play this. And if you're playing against, like, I don't know, Exosister, you flip this over and they can't go for their Xyz monsters and stuff like that. It's a very interesting card, and it's a card that normally people would look at, read, scoff at, and throw away in the trash. Like, I've literally seen people throw this card away in the trash because it's not worth playing. It's not worth it. I honestly do think it is a little bit worth it, depending on what format it is and what deck you're playing. It can be a fun meta call. On that note, there is Howl. No, I cannot spell Howl. Yeah, White Howling. If you control a water monster, target a spell in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, negate all spell effects on your opponent's field for the rest of the turn. This card, if you're playing a water deck, maybe something to consider against certain spell-heavy decks, stuff like that. It gives new life, new chances to these cards that normally people would consider to be bad and unplayable because, well, you got to make do with other options. You can't play multiple D-Barrier. You can barely even play one. It's stuff like that that makes it really cool. I like that a lot. Now, my biggest gripe. Let's get on with my gripes. Okay, I've already griped a little bit about the point distribution system. Like, a friend of mine was talking to me about Sword Soul. Sword Soul has a lot of hits to it, and that sucks too. I think it'd be cool to see Sword Soul get another chance at being a good deck, but yeah, it's got let's see here, Moye. So if you want to play 3 of her, that's 9 points. 15, so that's 24. And then the Searcher, of course, is 33. Oh, and I wonder if they put Tinny stuff. Wow, really? Wait, hang on. Dragon Cycle. Okay, hang on. Yeah, okay, so they did not put any points on either of the the Dragon Cycle cards for Tenyi and for Worms in general. So you can still try to do something with Sword Soul if you just don't play their own archetypal search spell, but I digress. Now, as I was trying to get on to before I went on a tangent again, my biggest problem with Genesys is the complete and total blanket banning of pendulums. I can already hear the people getting in the comments and go, look, tier pendulums are so bad. Pendulums are bad for the game. They're terrible. Why are you defending them? Yada, yada, yada. Listen, okay? For one thing, if you've followed my channel for a long period of time, you know I love pendulums. It's my favorite summoning mechanic, okay? And the thing is that find me a single freaking pendulum deck other than Endymion that has been relevant since the freaking Vrains era. Okay? Okay? Even when there was a little bit of hype around the Supreme King deck, or Pendulum Magician, it was never anything above Rogue tier. We have had a single pendulum deck I can think of that has been even remotely relevant as a meta deck, and yes, that was Endymion, and yes, that deck was stupid, but it's at full power now, and it does nothing. Okay? Now, on that note, with, I think it's at full power, right? Yeah, it's at full power now, and it does nothing. So, here's the thing, okay? The vast majority of Pendulum decks are absolute trash dog water, not even worth trying to play. And part of that in TCG is because we still have Electromite banned for some godforsaken reason, but also because these Pendulum decks have barely gotten any support, and the support that they have gotten is not enough to make up for the faults of the changes to the Pendulum system in general. I really want to make a longer video about this in general, but like take for instance Magispector. Magispector is a really cool archetype. It's terrible. Okay, it is unplayable, even though it got a really stupidly powerful Link monster, even though it got a really good, powerful Xyz Pendulum monster that people are now abusing and freaking Mitsurugi to get out freaking, what was it? You special summon the Draco Slayer that searches field spells after you tribute Mitsurugi, and then you get to Secret Village of the Spellcasters. Yeah, anyways, ignoring that fact, though, for using this and other stuff, the Magispector deck as a whole is terrible. Part of that is because Pendulums are now in the back row, where you can only set 3 spells or traps in the back row at any given point, and also because the deck support that it got is just not good enough. Now you want to take a look at something else like Dynomist. Dynomist has not gotten a single piece of support since the Arc V era, and yeah, it's terrible. It cannot play under the modern Master rules. Ignites are literally unplayable. Their whole thing was being normal monsters that I did not realize you can see their feet. Is that on all of them? Huh. Look at that. We have extended arts before we get to the extended arts in Yu-Gi-Oh! I never noticed that before. Is that on the actual printed cards? I gotta look at it. Anyways, Ignites is a terrible deck because they're all normal monsters except for their 2 terrible boss monsters. You pop them, you put them in your back, in your Pendulum Zone, in your extra deck, you search out another one. You're supposed to do that a couple times, set your scales 1 final time, pen 5. You can't do that anymore. This deck has no such thing as freaking extension or starters to be even aware of, because they were designed with a completely different mechanical summoning mechanic in mind, and they're unplayable. Now, would they be the best thing ever if they were allowed to be played in Genesis? No, especially since it would probably still say you can only Pendulum summon 1 from the extra deck or something, unless they were like, yeah, you can pen 5 from the extra deck. Even then, I don't think this deck would be anything amazing. Now, the reason why Pendulums are not in Genesis, I think there's 3 reasons. First and foremost, I think there is a lot of degenerate combo stuff you can do, and they really don't want to bloat the list beyond the 500 cards that's already on it. Because I'll tell you right now, Draco Slayer, if... Is Draco Overlord? Draco Overlord's worth 100 points. Huh. I did not know that. But if you look at Draco Slayers, I will tell you right now, if Pendulums are legal, Lesser Pendulum would be worth probably 90 points at the minimum. This card enables so many degenerate plays. Astrograph Sorcerer would probably be at 100 points. Stuff like that. There would be so many cards where they would have to add on. It would just bloat the list even more. So I understand it from that perspective. I also understand it from the fact that this is also trying to kind of appeal to Yu-Gi boomers. The Yu-Gi boomer doesn't like Pendulums. They don't like Links. Heck, they barely like Synchros and Xyz. But they're trying to appeal to those people, try to get more people to come back in, and a lot of people who are like, Pendulums ruined the game. They did not, but okay, so let's get rid of them. Cool, okay, fine. I understand that too. I think the other big reason, though, also ties in with Links, though. Links, I fully understand why they got rid of them, and personally, if I could kill any mechanic in the game and permanently remove it from the standard format, it would be Links. I do not like Links. I think they ruined a lot of... I don't want to say they ruined Yu-Gi-Oh!, but they really did not think properly about, okay, what if we can use any 2 generic cards to go into any extra deck monster? As we have seen, Links have more banned cards than any other card summoning mechanic in the game, and it's a whole other rabbit hole that I do not want to get into, because again, that's another like 10-minute rant right there. So I think the final reason why they did not bring Pendulums is because they did not bring Links, and the 2 summon mechanics are tied to the hip now. Well, Rather, links are flying high, way above the clouds, being the best summoning mechanic ever printed, being broken as all hell, and making almost every other summoning mechanic irrelevant whenever it comes to being generic toolboxes. Remember to rank for a toolbox? That's gone now. But anyway, while pendulums are desperately holding on by a shoestring, like 10,000 feet below. It's bad. Pendulums rely on links. Links don't give a crap about pendulums, so when you get rid of links, you also have to get rid of pendulums, at least in terms of doing this with Genesys. So, yeah, I think I already kind of explained why I think they got rid of links. It's pretty much the same reasons. The Yu-Gi boomers hate it. They're trying to appeal to them. They're trying to appeal to lower casuals and everything like that. Awesome, great, I understand. So, I'm trying to be optimistic about this. Yu-Gi-Oh! Konami, they have a bad habit of not supporting a new format. That's the word I'm looking for. And letting it just die. Look at Speed Duels. Look at Battle Pack. Look at what was that other one? The Titans or whatever it was. I forget. You had the Battle Pack. You had Speed Duel. You had the I think it was also a Battle Pack, but it was like its own format kind of thing. The Draft, where every monster is every monster type and attribute to try to make everything work. Because drafting in an archetypal game doesn't really work. It's funny, Digimon even has to do the same thing whenever they do drafting for like pre-release events, where everything's every type, every summoning mechanic. Well, not every summoning mechanic, but everything's every color, basically. So, yeah, Konami has a bad habit of not supporting them. All of them died with very little fanfare. Speed Duel in particular was a really just sad case. I remember distinctly every time a new Speed Duel set would be announced, there would always be people complaining in the comments that, oh, there's no good reprints. And, like, it's just like, Speed Duel is not for reprinting. It was for printing a separate format, but people did not care. The average meta player looked at it, said, I don't want to play that, give me good reprints. Oh, there's no good reprints, I'm not buying Speed Duel. And unfortunately, that's what happened. Even the mid-core players fell out of it after a while. And I don't even, I think my locals maybe had Speed Duels consistently for about 6 months, if that. And then it fell apart. They would still buy the product. People would pick them up whenever there was good reprints, and that was about it. So, yeah. I think the big thing, though, that's going to save Genesys and really try to get it going is the fact that we do not have to buy any new cards in terms of buying new product. If you want to play a particular deck, yeah, you're going to have to buy new cards if you don't have them already. I know a lot of people at locals who are, well, meta players, who they only ever have 1 or 2 decks at a time, and it's whatever the top 2 decks are that they like playing. The instant the decks go out of rotation, they sell them, pick up the new meta deck, and it's a cycle. Heck, I remember actually getting a little bit of an argument with a friend of mine who was playing, I think it was back in Sword Soul, and he hated Sword Soul. He hated the deck. And I'm like, well, why are you playing it? He goes, because it's the best deck of the format. And I'm like, but then if you hate playing it, why are you playing it? Because it's the best deck of the format. And of course, as soon as the next best deck came in, he switched over to that deck. So, it's very interesting seeing all these people rushing to try to figure out how to crack these different decks. I got a little disheartened at first because, K9 Vanquisol was the best deck in the format again, and then they fixed it with changes to the point value. Vanquisol is still a really solid deck in it, though, because for some reason, we got to give Glad Beast a ton of points, but no, Vanquisol gets 10 points, even though they just got killed on the ban list. But that's neither here nor there. So, actually, wait, I think, doesn't Stake Your Soul count something to Vanquish? No. Yeah, only Holly Sue costs points. Okay, Konami, I see your favoritism. It's recency bias, I get it. You want to sell more product, even though there's only one set with Vanquish Soul cards in it that's been released in recent years. I get it. Okay. Yeah, my poor Glad Beasts are unplayable, while Vanquish Soul can be full power, basically, in Genesys. And so, yeah, here's the thing. Genesys is not going to be that much lower power than normal Yu-Gi-Oh! That's a little secret that I think people are starting to realize. Because I saw people just really like getting excited about playing all these random bad decks. But yeah, that's not the case. This is not going to be Caveman Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you summon your Unga Bunga to beat your opponent's Bogus Bogus, and it goes on for 20 turns, okay? This is not going to be that. This is going to be a lower powered format where lower powered decks get a chance to shine. Along with Konami's favorite child whenever they want those decks to shine in multiple formats too. But I digress. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention something too that bugs me about the pendulum thing. Is that Konami's main way of buffing old archetypes has been giving the old decks pendulums and links. Case in point, Speedroid, my poor babies. They lose Rubber Band Shooter, Colonel Clackers, and Marble Machine, and Wing Synchron. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 of their best cards are not playable in Genesys, which means the deck is basically it's much more difficult to play. I don't know if I'd say unplayable, but it's up there. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents on everything. I know this went on for way longer than I thought it would go, 30 minutes, but I wanted to get my 2 cents on it. I have re-recorded a video talking about Genesys something like 5 times now. I just cannot get my thoughts properly out, even when I write them down, which I have a little sheet here with my thoughts on everything, and I still ramble. I still get off script. But moving forward, okay, so for one thing, as you might have noticed, that this is weird. I have 2 videos going up in the same week, and I've barely uploaded 2 videos in a year. So I'm trying to get back into making videos. I know I say that every time I get around to making videos, but I'm trying to find my creative outlets again because I am going insane just working and sleeping and working and sleeping and working and sleeping and occasionally going up to a card store to go X2 drop and then go back home to go to sleep and have work, sleep, X2 drop, work, blah, 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 blah. My life is very monotonous, and I don't, that's a whole other thing. Anyways, so I'm trying to get back into everything. Genesys, if you guys are interested, is something that I am very much looking at as something to talk about a lot with moving forward on channel, because my favorite part of card games in general is the deck building aspect of things, and the combination of the restrictions and the sheer number of decks that are playable or have some viability to them is making me go, okay, I want to play this, I want to play this, I want to play that, I want to try this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that, yada yada yada. And it's something that is giving me a little bit more of like a little bit more energy into the game. It's because, like, as I mentioned earlier, I am going insane with modern Yu-Gi-Oh at the moment because so many decks are unplayable, are not viable even as a rogue deck. The mountainous climb between the best rogue deck and the worst meta deck feels like there is just a freaking Mount Everest between the two. And Genesys given new life to these older decks, giving me a chance to get to play them and be like, yeah, I want to summon out my hoop cake and get out Tiramisu and spin back a bunch of stuff and do this and do that. This is stupid, by the way. I do want to mention, by the way, a little tip after talking to some people and kind of getting thoughts on everything after playing. Fua and Drone Lockbird, as long as they cost a very low amount, they are probably main deck 3-ofs in like everything. Mill Charmies in general, if you have the other ones, I do not have Pirellia, so I've just been testing, or Meows for that matter. So I've just been testing, assuming I just have Fua. And like, look at this. I've been loving this build of Madoshe, by the way. I just have all this. I still got barely over halfway. I can put whatever the heck I want in here pretty much for the side and everything and figure out the extra deck. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm hoping I can get the rest of my stuff in the mail because I want to play Madoshe on Friday. That is my goal. If I cannot, I got to figure out what to play. I digress. If you guys want to see Genesys deck profiles, duels, or anything like that, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to be able to do so. I've been testing out a lot of things, trying to figure things out, Heroic, I'm gonna need to pick up the Golem. No, not Golem. The Warrior. This dude here, because I think I've got to do my Heroic. Oh, jeez. Anyways, guys, that's everything. I'm gonna ramble on so long if I do not stop myself here. If you want to see more content like this, please rate, comment, and subscribe down below. My next video will probably be one talking about the upcoming full arts, extended arts, whatever the heck you want to call them. I'm very thankful I decided to hold off from the day that they were announced, because I had a lot of choice things to say, and if you saw me on Twitter, you probably know why. I'm just very pessimistic about everything in general, guys. It's not going good. Anyways, let me know what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe down below, and see y'all later in the next one. Bye. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do consider rating, commenting, and subscribing. Sharing the video helps as well. If you especially really like it, please do consider being a channel member. Every little bit helps out. And hey, also why not check me out on my other social media pages. Thank you, and have a great day.